Greetings and welcome to the program, the Creator Entrepreneur Podcast, which is called, Hey, Ideas, Influence, Impact, and Income. The 4 qualities that people in life and business need today if they're going to make their mark, not only in the marketplace, but in the world of ideas, the world of relationships, the world of spiritual and emotional development, the world of how do we perform, how do we live well, how do we make a difference, how do we love and serve others. That's what we want to be about, and so we're going to keep inaugurating that in our hearts, minds, and spirits every day, and hopefully you'll take some time to listen to us. One of the things that we all begin to discover is that every day we need to do something creative. And one of the things you need to do, it's helpful to do, is to take 10, 15, 20 minutes to study or think about or learn something that might be helpful and new to you. If you do that, things will go much better. In fact, they might even go well for you. So we try and provide at least a little piece of that action for you in about maybe 12 to 20 minutes on the Creator Entrepreneur Podcast. What we continue to want to do in 2021 is just invite men and women who have that kind of spirit within them, kind of a different spirit. They are creator entrepreneurs, and today I've invited Sherry Monahan. Sherry is truly a creator entrepreneur, and stick around. She has stories to tell about eating well, and then perhaps, that same thing might help you be a true own your own business entrepreneur. Yeah, we're going to put those two things together. The program is The Creator Entrepreneur, and it begins right now. Here we go. This is Sherry Monahan, and she's got all kinds of stories to tell us about COVID and crisis and craziness and being a Renaissance character because she is into cooking stories of wild and crazy women of the West. Again, a truly Renaissance person. Sherry, you're on.
Well, thank you. That was quite the opening. And I have to say, Renaissance, I don't think I've been described that way before, but I like it. So I guess, you brought up COVID and pandemic, and, I have been a person who has always loved, food and beverages, and I think it tells a lot about people and countries and heritages. And I had been working on another one of my books during the pandemic, and I started to see more and more people on their social media pages posting pictures of cocktails. And I got to thinking, you know what, maybe this would be a really fun book. A publisher friend of mine and I had talked about doing a similar book about more drinking other than just about COVID. And I had suggested that this be a chapter in that book. And one thing led to another. And well, I have this book. And what I did, because I felt like there's so many bad things happening in 2020 during the pandemic that have obviously morphed into today. I just wanted to find a way to tell a good story because there's going to be lots of stories written in history about what happened and all the horrible things. I wanted to look at it differently. I'm a very optimistic person, creative person, and I thought, why not show the light that people found in darkness during this pandemic? And in doing so, I started, I'll admit, I trolled the internet on social media, looking for people who were doing cocktails and mocktails as well, not all alcohol. And, there are interesting, funny stories on how they're getting through this. People that are, working from home and having to teach at home, teachers who are having to teach from home, their students online, but then again, their own children. So it's really kind of fun. There is one man, he is a truck driver in Kansas, and I interviewed him, and he was saying, one morning he was making an omelet, and he had coconut milk that was blocking the egg, so he put the coconut milk on the counter, and he was going to have a normal juice. He had like a pineapple, orange, banana, And he had that juice out, and he saw the coconut milk and the coconut, pineapple, orange, banana juice, and said, you know what? I'm not working today, or I'm working from home. Well, he's a truck driver, so he said, I'm not working today. And he said, you know, I got coconut rum. And so he created a cocktail called Brandon's Pandemic Eye Opener. And I mean,
great.
Hey, why not? So I will share with you Brandon's Pandemic Eye Opener cocktail recipe in case you decide, hey, it's COVID, I'm working from home, or you're not out driving your truck and you're sitting in your house on your day off. So easy recipe: 2 ounces of rum, 4 ounces of your favorite fruit juice, which could be orange or pineapple or a combination of, an ounce of coconut milk. You combine it, you pour over ice. Happy morning to you. So that's just one of the many stories in this book that are kind of fun and uplifting. There's over 90 recipes in the book. Some are for syrup, some are for cocktails, some are for mocktails. It was just, you know, it was really uplifting for me to be able to reach out to these people and get a part of their life, and to know that even if we didn't agree, you know, politically or socially, or we're not on the same level, because this is a diverse group of people that I interviewed. Just as it happened, I didn't seek out, but it just turned out that I just had a broad array of people from America. And it was really nice to see we were all in this together. You know, this is how we all made it through. We all could see a positive sign somewhere, regardless of the things that were going on in our lives. And no doubt every one of us has been affected by COVID and by the lockdown in some form or another. I don't think any of us have escaped that. Some have it harsher than others, but hopefully this is a book that people will look back and go, you know, wow, not everything was doom and gloom. People did find a really good way to do this. And so that was why I did this book. And, you know, I've written a lot about food and drink, mostly on the American frontier. And it's, for me, it does tell a lot about people, you know, how they drink, what they drink, where they drink, why they drink, and eat it. And food is the same way. And so I just, hopefully this is a little time capsule. The title is called Shaken in 2020, but Not Stirred. Because I really think that sums up what we had. Plus, it's a great play on James Bond. And of course, we lost Sean Connery in 2020, so it's kind of an ode to him as well. And so I hope people will check it out and really, you know, laugh a little bit, have a good cocktail or a mocktail, and go from there. And I will say, as far as the entrepreneurial side of it, it's been challenging. I have an agent, and she tried really hard to get this book published. And the publishers, a couple of really big name publishers, were interested, and they loved the idea. But, you know, with publishing, and most people don't probably realize this, that it can take anywhere from 12 to 18 months for your average Joe author to get published. And so their thought was, well, if we took this book back in the summer, it's going to be this summer before it's released. And at that time and that thought, they were thinking the pandemic was going to be over. Boy, was that hopeful. I think we all felt that way. And so they said, well, this would be dated and nobody would want to have this book. So I ended up going the self-publishing route. Well, I did it, you know, through online services. And I went through editing. I had a couple of really good editors. I hired a professional designer because, you know, I didn't want this to look like it was self-published. It's easy to just go pick a standard stock cover and a photo and just do it yourself as editing. You know, I've always given advice at writers' conventions is that if I don't care how good of a writer you are, you have got to have an editor because you cannot distance yourself enough from your own work. It just doesn't happen. No matter how much I tried, oh yeah, you read backwards, you read frontward, you read out loud, and those are all good tips, but you're never going to catch it all because you're just too close. So I got some really good advice to make this book a whole lot better than it could have been. I'm very pleased with how it turned out, but, you know, now I have the challenge of I need people to review the book so that people know about the book. It's not the good old Field of Dreams story. If you write it, they will read it. I have to find a way to get it out there. Of course, the people who are in the book support it and have bought copies, which has been fantastic. But I need to have people review it. So this is when the author hat gets taken off and I have to put in my marketing cap. And now I have to, a press release was written. Now I have to submit that press release to libraries, to independent bookstores, to, news media to people who sell products that might be interested to social media sites. So that is now where my full efforts are focused. And of course, as an author, you always have to think about your next project. Well, I happen to have 3 new projects that I want to work on. Of course, they're all somehow either food or beverage related, all nonfiction. So, you're trying to do 5,000 things at once when you become a marketer and as a self-publisher. There are services out there who will offer it, but the more that you spend, as my husband, who is my business manager, and I say that in air quotes unofficially, but he, is always wise when I say, oh, well, I want to, do this, and this. And he says, okay, well, how many books do you need to sell? And what's your net profit? And how much are you spending? And what's your bottom line? Are you going to make money or are you losing money off of this? And I always go, dang it. He's right. So, I have to be conscious about, things that I hire. I could hire and spend money to put this out there to certain agencies, but at the same time, what is my return on investment? So now you become a money manager on top of marketing and authoring. There are so many things that go into this side of it. How do you get your book distributed? Those good things. I posted a funny meme the other day on my Facebook page. I found it. I didn't create it, but it's really funny. It's a picture of a skeleton sitting in front of their computer. And I'm trying to find the picture right now. And it basically is the skeleton is sitting there looking at their computer going, an author. This is me as an author waiting for someone to review my book online. And that's kind of what we are like. It's like, did anybody write a review? What's it look like? And it's like, we could be dead by the time we wait for that. So it's just kind of funny. Those little things get you through being an author. I will say anybody that is thinking about being an author or is an author, persistence, is probably, and perseverance are the 2 big words. You have got to have a thick skin when people give you criticism and critiquing. Take it with a grain of salt, knowing that all of those critiques could make you better or make your book better. I've learned that over time. And I always am the opinion of, okay, well, maybe this book wasn't meant to be written at this particular moment. I have a book that I'm working on now that I've been trying to get published for, I think it's over 10 years now. And it's a nonfiction story about a woman in England who came to California, very aristocratic, and she became an average person in many aspects when she came here in 1886. And I desperately want to tell her story. I think it's so fascinating. But because she isn't somebody famous or isn't connected to somebody famous, most publishers aren't interested, which is sad. And then my agent even said, yeah, it hurt to hear this. And she said, yeah, it's not really written all that well. And I was like, oh gosh, that's the worst thing an author wants to hear. But I reflected on that, and I came up with a new way to tell her story. She was when she came from England, they of course had staff, and she was sent to the kitchen by her mother to learn how to roast meat and bake bread, because if you could eat bread and have roasted meat, you certainly could survive America, apparently. So she was very proud of all of her cooking accomplishments, and she wrote a book in 1886 about living life in California for rich people, which was kind of funny. But her greatest achievements were her food, and she talked extensively about food and cooking. And so I thought, if I maybe don't tell her whole story, but I can tell her story through her food and her recipes and things that happen around those incidents, then people can still learn about her. And then maybe there's an opportunity for another book which really tells her entire life story. So maybe that's the revelation of, okay, maybe I was never supposed to tell her story the other way because it wouldn't get read. Maybe through food, it works. And so the working title for that book is Victorian Recipes with a Side of Scandal, How Food Saved a Woman Named Ethel, or Cooking Saved a Woman Named Ethel. So that should be up sometime when I get done working on every project that I have. And so, that's about being an author and marketing and being an entrepreneur. I used to have a full-time job working in corporate America, in mortgage industry and banking. And I always wanted to be a writer. And, an opportunity came and presented itself when I was a policy and procedure writer. Woohoo, it's so exciting. But I volunteered at my company to work on fun stuff. We had a philanthropic organization that I used to write copy for. And so that sort of got me my feet wet in a little experience. And one thing led to another. My first book came out in 1998 called Taste of Tombstone. And so that's how I got my author career started, and so much I've learned over those period of time. I currently am in my 12th year of writing a column for True West magazine called Frontier Fare, where, as you guessed it, maybe, that it is about food on the frontier in the 1800s or early 1900s, like around to 1910 or 1920, to show things how evolved. Short column, but it always has a recipe for you to try. So if you have not seen that, you should check it out if you want to delve in and cook like the pioneers used to. And several other books like that. And if anybody wants to learn more about my books, I have a website at sherrymonahan.com, and you can go out, check out all my books, and find out where to order them, get your own copies. Email me with questions. I'm always up for that. And that's all I can think of.
Well, Sherry, now let me tell you this. You have given a mini 20-minute course on entrepreneurship. And let me tell, though that's wonderful. And this is what I'm going to say to our readers. You might say, well, I'm not a writer. Now, I want you to run this podcast back, and I want you to play it again, because what she was describing about getting her book published and making that happen, you take that and put that in whatever your, quote, book or product or service is, and you know what? The same kind of challenges and crises and opportunities are going to come to you, too. So
that's a great way to put that. I like
exactly.
it.
And I mean, I don't care what your thing is, your stuff. This is what she described when she had to do it on her own. And in doing it on her own, she not only had to figure out how, she had to figure out who can help her, because you always need someone to help you. So, Sherry, not only was this a fun story about your life and the exploration of a book, this truly is a kind of a motif, and even more than that, kind of a mosaic and a spoken movie about what the creator entrepreneur is all about, because they're not just taking a franchise and doing somebody else's thing. Creator entrepreneurs are creating at the same time and taking risks. And one of the things I loved is, this is true, right now, if you're younger than Sherry or me, here's one of the things I'm telling young entrepreneurs now. You have to get a number of DWI convictions. And that means demonstrated wisdom and insight. Not intoxicated. You need a drink to get through it, but don't get those DWIs. And so, as I said to my daughter, I said, honey, publish your first book before you're 40. It doesn't even have to be that good of a book, but show people that you are a thinker, you are a creator, you have the courage to do it, and publish your first book before you're 30. And whether you like it or not, or like him or not, and by the way, he's very happy with this, because, Sherry, I had an editor once say to me when I said to her, yeah, my book, I hope people like it. And you know what she did? She said, Stan, you don't want people to like your book. You want them to love it or hate it.
Exactly.
And whether you love him or hate him, part of his success was a man named Donald Trump, who was a real estate developer and lived a rather dangerous life because he never knew what was going to happen to him when he was collecting rent, wrote a book at the age of 39. And that made his career.
You know, it's true. I mean, especially today, with being able to print your book, you know, or on Barnes & Noble, it costs you nothing. Right. As long as, you know, like you said, you can say you're published.
That's right. And
you know, I got a friend who quit Lowe's hardware store. She's well retired from the Postal Service, but wanted that extra income and paying into Social Security. And, you know, she said to me recently that she was gainfully unemployed, and her sister, you know, said, well, I've got a project for you. I want you to go out. You've got all the family genealogy. I want you to go out and I want you to write the book. You've got all the information, compile it together, and then publish it on Amazon or on Barnes & Noble. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't even have to put it up for sale. They have an option now for people, but why not put it up for sale? Because it's local regional history in addition to just the family genealogy. So there you go. That's how, now you have become a published author.
Absolutely. And if you're always wanting to know what is a good startup conversation, somebody says, well, what's life doing with you right now? Or how's things at work? You pause and say, I'm writing a book.
I know. What if people just are drawn to that? I mean, even the celebrities who need nothing, they're like, oh, I'm a published author now. Like, you know what? You got all your own damn field. Get out of mine.
Right. It starts a conversation.
It does.
And as I've oftentimes said, that nothing happens in terms of life, relationships, and sales until your story meets their story, and you'll now get a little bit of their story.
Exactly.
So, Sherry, you are a creator entrepreneur, and that's why I'm going to have you back a number of times. First of all, how to enjoy life is important, and how to eat and sleep and write are vital to your success no matter what you're doing today.
That is spot on and my mantra.
Okay. Sherry, promise me you'll come back.
Promise me that you will ask me and keep asking me, and I will.
Greetings and welcome to the program, the Creator Entrepreneur Podcast, which is called, Hey, Ideas, Influence, Impact, and Income. The 4 qualities that people in life and business need today if they're going to make their mark, not only in the marketplace, but in the world of ideas, the world of relationships, the world of spiritual and emotional development, the world of how do we perform, how do we live well, how do we make a difference, how do we love and serve others. That's what we want to be about, and so we're going to keep inaugurating that in our hearts, minds, and spirits every day, and hopefully you'll take some time to listen to us. One of the things that we all begin to discover is that every day we need to do something creative. And one of the things you need to do, it's helpful to do, is to take 10, 15, 20 minutes to study or think about or learn something that might be helpful and new to you. If you do that, things will go much better. In fact, they might even go well for you. So we try and provide at least a little piece of that action for you in about maybe 12 to 20 minutes on the Creator Entrepreneur Podcast. What we continue to want to do in 2021 is just invite men and women who have that kind of spirit within them, kind of a different spirit. They are creator entrepreneurs, and today I've invited Sherry Monahan. Sherry is truly a creator entrepreneur, and stick around. She has stories to tell about eating well, and then perhaps, that same thing might help you be a true own your own business entrepreneur. Yeah, we're going to put those two things together. The program is The Creator Entrepreneur, and it begins right now. And see, it is true. You learn more here by accident while you're having a good time than most places by design. And I really do encourage you, if you're a writer, if you're a creator entrepreneur, if you're seeking to figure out how you're going to, build a life and a business which you have more control over. It is the age of the internet connected experience entrepreneurial economy. Multiple streams of income, multiple ways to make a contribution and receive income compensation. All of us are going to have to be much more aware, starting right now in 2021 on the inauguration day, of how to do just that. And that's why I would suggest you rewind this and listen to it again. And Sherry had good advice. And it is important. That's right. Learn how to eat well, drink well, and drink sensibly. How to put life and business together in a way and make it work. Make it work for you. And it's still time to make not a New Year's resolution, but certainly a thoughtful intention about how life is going to be different for you 1 year from today. Think about that. How will life be different for you? What are you going to do to make that difference happen? Well, check Sherry out. She can help you by keeping you well informed, and we can keep you well informed here too on the Creator Entrepreneur Podcast. Please reach out to us, raise your hand, and audition to be on the program. We'd love to hear from you. Raise your hand and StanHusted@gmail.com. StanHusted@gmail.com, and tell me, hey, I've got a story to tell. I've got some wisdom to share, perhaps some fun and good times just to make us smile and make us laugh, and I'd like to join you on the program. And we'll see what we can do. So, till next time, thank you again, Sherry, very much, and check her work out. And you have a very, very good day, and that the sense before you is that you are going to have a better, that's right, a better 2021. Best and blessings. Bye for now.